So there's a quote that I absolutely love and has just resonated with me throughout my entire career, which is when the customer comes first, the customer will last.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Imtiaz, and we are really glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to customer experience and technology experts from around the world. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. So, a brief introduction about Engati. Engati is the world's leading multilingual, no-code digital customer experience platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest, Mary Poppen is the Chief Customer Officer at LinkedIn. She is a board advisor and executive coach and is passionate about anything and everything related to a customer. She is a pioneer in the customer success and experience space and was named as one of the top customer success influencers. She's completely focused on creating processes and tools to increase customer success at scale. Welcome to the show, Mary. We are so excited to talk to you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Right. But before we dive into our interview with Mary, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content from the thought leaders across the globe. All right, let's begin. So, Mary, here's the first question that our viewers have for you. What are some tips and tricks for businesses to act responsibly for all post-sale customer interactions, primarily spanning from delivery, support, customer success, customer empowerment, training, community, and so on? What are your thoughts on it?
So it's a great question. In my experience, the key is really understanding how your product or service can best deliver customer business outcomes. So that's really the starting point. From that point of view, you can identify the optimal customer journey. So across all of those areas that you mentioned, to get to like the most accelerated time to value for your customers, and to identify how to continue to add value to the relationship ongoing. A secret ingredient to customer success is really attaining customer intimacy. So this is a word I've used for a really long time, and I really believe it's the secret sauce to having an amazing customer relationship. And what it is, my definition, is knowing your customer better than anyone else and understanding and delivering what they need, when they need it, in the way that is best for them, and ultimately, even before they know they need it. Right? So if you can get ahead of their needs, take the insights you have and start to predict what they're going to need, this is the type of relationship that is super hard to replace. And it creates a trusted partnership. So it's difficult for your competition to catch up from that point.
Sure, I think that's a pretty good insight and a new term for sure for our viewers. I think that's a pretty good thing to kind of understand what your customer needs and kind of work through it and, I think that's the tough part. And I think good customer success teams definitely do that. Right. Thank you. So moving on to the next question. So how can we identify, evaluate, and rectify the company when it's at a high risk of disruption from competitors who are creating innovative customer experiences?
So similar to what I noted in the last question, really understanding your customers, you need to be able to identify and articulate why your product or service is better than the competition. So what really sets you apart, right? What are your key differentiators? And if you can't articulate that, it's going to be really difficult to grow your business because customers want to understand and feel like you know them and that you can deliver what they need to transform their business, but they need to understand how you can do that better and different, right, than anyone else. So being able to articulate how your product or service is in alignment with your customers' specific business goals is going to create the desired outcomes. And that is going to set you apart.
Sure. I just have one follow-up question on this. So let's say in your experience, without taking any names, are there any examples where I think you have been through this situation where you have showcased this? I mean, going beyond understanding the customer, and that has helped you in probably improving the customer value and so on. Are there any examples that you would like to share?
Well, I can share a recent example, which is really our Glint product, which is focused on helping improve, helping employees be happier, more successful at work is our mission. And what has set Glint apart from others is our focus on employee engagement, real-time dynamic feedback on the employee experience, and leveraging AI to get to a percent of accuracy that is better than even the human could put together, especially in an accelerated time, to create the insights that are needed for managers and leaders to make changes in their organization, right? Based on the employee feedback, what can they do to help increase the level of engagement and improve the culture in the company?
So, thank you.
Sure.
Then moving on to the next question, how can we align brand promise and mission to customer experience? And then a related question would be, one is more company-centric, the other is more customer-centric. How do we bridge both of them together, brand and customer experience?
So you're going to hear a theme from me, which is really the key is listening to your customers and letting them drive your product or service strategy versus letting your product or service try to drive their strategy, right? And so anytime you're pushing an idea or your own vision to customers, it may or may not resonate with their needs and with their strategy. So if you can really listen and tie their needs to your product or service strategy, that's going to be how you win. And understanding the market related to current and future business challenges and aligning your brand promise to addressing those. So you sort of have the high level, you're meeting the needs and the challenges high level in the industry, but then you go further to tie it specifically to your customer specific needs and business outcomes. That is where the differentiation comes. So hopefully your mission is already focused on the customer versus internal success. So really aligning your brand promise to that in light of key business challenges is going to help with your differentiation. And then taking it a step further and identifying the position that your specific business challenges for your customers meets is going to add a level of personalization that your competitors are going to have a hard time keeping up with.
Sure. I think that's a good formula. It's almost like a mathematical formula, like understand your customer needs, then tie it to your brand vision or product vision, and there you go. I mean, you have a happy customer and a growing business. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and customer intimacy, right? So there's that listening to your customer and really building on how you meet their specific needs helps drive that customer intimacy.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, moving on to the next question. Tell us about the collision between marketing and customer experience. What are your thoughts on that?
So I think it's an interesting question because I think there doesn't need to be a collide. So if they're aligned, right, that tension doesn't need to exist. So ideally, the marketing efforts are targeting the key business challenges that your product or service will address. Mm-hmm. And the optimal customer journey is a focus in marketing efforts. And if that happens, then customers are going to understand the experience they're signing up for, and the delivery teams are going to bring it to life. So this creates a significant level of trust with the customer, and it allows for high brand loyalty and referenceability, not to mention strong renewals and expansion. But I don't think there needs to be a collision if there's a really strong alignment.
For sure. I mean, when I was thinking about referencing customers, I mean, I think a good customer experience gets referenceable customers, and that will bring you more customers back, and that will help marketing for sure. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah, moving on to the next question. How cohesive can we make our customer experience with our brand across all touch points?
So I think a service-based mindset versus a product-centric one is really going to allow for more cohesion. So even when a product is highly self-serve, having a customer mindset throughout the organization just helps focus on decisions and priorities that are going to drive more value for the customer. So a service-based approach will ensure that whether customers are highly self-sufficient in using your product, or if you are providing high-touch service, the experience is always focused on their success and business outcomes. So it will feel that way to the customer. Every support interaction, community engagement, automated communication, or live interaction should feel like the customer's unique needs are being addressed in the right way at the right time. And this can be true of both low touch and high touch customer experience. So it's that service-based mindset and customer first mentality that all organizations should start with, even if it's, even if the product is pretty much self-sufficient.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question on that. It's primarily on my interest. So, do you think technology plays a role in good customer experience? So I do understand, I mean, I know you did mention customer intimacy. I don't know how we would do that with technology. So that can be one interesting question. I can definitely see that through building relationships with people for sure. In your experience, have you seen technology play a key role?
I have, and actually I'm glad you asked, because I do think we're approaching an opportunity in 2021, hopefully, and beyond, to leverage more advanced technology to get to know the customer and to deliver a better experience in a more scaled way. So from my experience to date, technology has been created that helps build a centralized view of the customer. So we have platforms now that you can pull in multiple data channels and really see the full 360 view of your customer. What doesn't exist yet, which I'm really excited about because I think it's coming, is the ability to take all of that centralized information and start to apply AI to that, right? Because the customer success industry hasn't really had a focus of AI. And I think that's becoming a realization now. More companies are starting to invest. The traditional kind of customer success platforms that exist out there in some of the startups. And I believe what it's going to be able to do is, whether it's a low touch, experience that you have with your customers today, so it's self-serve driven, or if it's high touch, where you have consultants and people doing the implementation of products and ongoing service. This AI applied to CS is going to allow you to start to predict in a much easier way what customers are going to need. So, you can have data scientists and that's great, but today they still spend a lot of time just trying to collect the data and reconcile it. And if they don't know the right questions to ask, they're not gonna find those key insights. And that's where I think technology is going to be a huge differentiator and a game changer for customer success and customer experience. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, same here. And if you think we do get that technology, the 5 or 10 predictions that technology needs to do in customer success that would help a CS team? What topics, let's say broadly? What do you think?
Yeah, just I've been sort of formulating in my mind, and I posted a article on LinkedIn. I think I'm equating it to kind of 5 Ps of differentiated customer experience. This is where I think technology is going to bring it all together. And the 5 Ps are playbooks that are predictive, prescriptive, proactive, and personalized. And the technology is going to be able to provide customer-facing resources and organizations with the information and insights that will allow them to determine what customers will need. There's the predictive piece. And it's not just customers in general in the industry, it's each specific customer, right? So that unique customer intimacy, again, coming back. And once you can predict what they need, you can start to be more prescriptive, how your product or service meets that need. Then you can proactively take it to the customer before they ask, before they even know they need it, right? And start to have a conversation about what's coming, what they can do different. And then tie in that personalized piece, which is how does it relate to changing their specific business outcomes, right? And this sort of the 5 Ps are going to be able to be leveraged over and over and over again because the technology is going to get smarter, more advanced, and start to feed those predictions on an ongoing basis. That's kind of how I see it coming together. That's what I'm hoping for.
Cool. That's really cool. I think some really new concepts on this video call today, and I have learned a lot for sure. Okay, and then one final question. Are there any other sound bites that you would like to leave our audience with?
So there's a quote that I absolutely love and has just resonated with me throughout my entire career, which is, when the customer comes first, the customer will last. And this was a quote from Robert Half. And I think that it's true no matter what product or service your company delivers, nor how you deliver it. Putting the customer's needs first in every decision and interaction helps deliver a partnership experience that is difficult for anyone to match, right? And I truly believe that is what sets companies who are super successful apart from those that are just okay.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mary, for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable, and I know our audience is going to enjoy this interview. And for our audience, we'll be back with a new episode with a new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one.